All right, AP Human Geography students, we are on to our last video for our unit on population. And what we're going to focus on is, well, what if the world faces an overpopulation problem? Well, as you can see here on the left, we have a gentleman by the name of Thomas Robert Malthus, who we're going to talk about. And basically, he thought that the world, well, would look exactly as the picture describes it to the right. That people would just be falling off the world. No, that the world would become so overpopulated, the world would not be able to sustain itself through the food supply it has. Let's talk about that. All right, like I said, his name was Thomas Robert Malthus, and he described something called Malthusian checks. And what these checks were is any event that would actually negatively impact the population, like famine, drought, disease, natural disasters, right? He considered this a positive aspect because he believed that the world would one day become overpopulated because food, as he stated, grows arithmetically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And population grows geometrically, right? Multiplying 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, etc. Henceforth, he believed that population, as you can see by the graphic, would surpass food supply in a matter of time. He didn't know when that was, but he definitely said that it would happen one day. Well, I have to tell you, there's a little bit of criticism about him. Let's get to it here, all right? Listen, Malthus lived between 1766 and 1834, all right? He was not around for the Industrial Revolution, so all his theory assumed was on the growth and supply through the agricultural revolution only. Thus, he didn't know machinery was going to come and mass production and all these great things that we have today. Also, he thought that the world supply was fixed and not expanding. In other words, we couldn't increase our food supply in other regions of the world. Wrong on that. And also, population growth is a positive thing, and here's why. Because it can produce economic growth. And when we have economic growth, well, we have more jobs. And when more people are working, well, maybe more people can produce more food. All right? So, these are the three major criticisms right here. But there is one thing that is still around today that Thomas Malthus would be extremely happy about, that his theory is still holding true, and that is these negative checks or natural checks on the population. And one specifically that plagues us all, you'll see in a second why I said that, is disease. Let's get to that real quick. All right, this is called the epidemiological transition, okay, the study of disease. And so what this is, it's basically stating how disease can impact different populations at various stages of a disease transition, right? We talk about demographic transition. This is the epidemiological transition or the disease transition model. All right. So stages 1 and 2 are categorized by pestilence and famine. Pestilence is a fancy word for saying disease. Now, this can be spread through animals, can be spread from human to human. All right. One great example is the Black Plague or the Black Death. All right. And this was a pandemic, a worldwide disease that swept across Europe and killed over 2/3 of the population. Just an estimate. It could have been more. It could have actually been a little less. But nonetheless, it swept through Europe. As you can see here on the right, I have a nice little map of how the Black Plague traveled, if you will. We'll talk more about that in class. All right, on to stage 3 and 4, which is kind of where we are today. All right, we're seeing a decrease in the death from infectious diseases, such as, smallpox, such as measles, such as malaria. But we are seeing an increase in chronic disorders, such as heart disease and various forms of cancer as we age. All right, and obviously we can think and relate to the world around us today, and this kind of fits our mold. Also, there is a stage 5. What the stage 5 is that there is a reemergence of infectious diseases, and there's a lot of different reasons for that. Well, what results from this is a high CDR and even a higher CBR, right? There are higher death rates and thus lower birth rates. So why is it that we are seeing a stage 5 moving towards and living in? Well, it's because infectious diseases are evolving. And if you think, the best example I can give you is the flu. Each year, the flu has a very unique name, right? Bird flu, swine flu, whatever the case may be. And then over time, what has been happening is that the disease has evolved, all right, to further affect humans. Okay, a short video. That's it. We'll talk more about this in class. I will see you then.